welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Tony Dudzik, Pick Guardian.
Jared Brandon as Jared Brandon.
Hey, everybody. It's me, Todd Novak. Welcome to the Guitar Knobs podcast. We are thrilled to death that you are listening to our show.
That's right.
The show about guitar stuff, gear, whatnot. Tony, what else do we talk about here?
We talk about gear. We talk about boutique builders. We talk about the people that make this stuff.
Yeah,
books.
yeah. We love the boutique builders.
We just love it. We love to talk about it. And every once in a while, we do a 101 where we learn stuff.
We got
That's
some good
right.
ones cooking in the pot right now. I'm excited about them.
Ooh, I like it.
Speaking of boutique builders, we've got a really special one on tonight. Who is on the phone right now with us?
Hey, I'm Blake Kaiser with Kaisertronics.
Blake Kaiser with Kaisertronics.
Welcome to the show.
He managed to get it out. Thank goodness, because this would have been one heck of a start to the show if we couldn't get past that.
Bad.
Ooh. So we're very fortunate to have Kaisertronics on the show tonight. Hopefully you've seen some of his work out there. It is really, really nice looking
nice
stuff.
yeah.
And it sounds pretty dang great too. Where can people find what you do, Blake?
Best place is probably Instagram at Kaisertronics or Kaisertronics.com.
Okay. And where can, if people just want to skip that and they want to go buy something right now, where's the best place to buy something?
You know, I do the reverb thing, but I think I'm going to stop doing that at the end of the year. And so probably Kaisertronics.com is the best way to kind of get either an order in or shoot me a message and I can get you set up with a custom.
Nice. I'd be interested to hear your take on the reverb thing. I know a lot of talk is going on about that right now.
Yeah, it's an interesting time.
And if you don't want to, that's okay too.
I think we all
What
have,
happened to my shop?
we have strong opinions about that. I think everybody does.
Yeah.
We were in
Yeah.
Chicago when reverb was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was like this era of
when it
the
first
awesome
started,
reverb.
before it
Yeah.
got bought.
Yeah.
We
Well,
went to the
yeah.
place.
But
there.
even as a small business owner myself, I mean, this year I started looking at what I've paid PayPal over the course of the year. I mean, and they have. I know you can write it off, but still, it's a major
It's a good chunk of
percentage.
change.
It is.
Yeah, it is. Yep.
But sometimes the cost of doing business.
It is a cost of doing
Yeah.
business.
So what I think will probably happen is that some other one sprouts up and goes, we can do it better.
And cheaper.
Yeah. And maybe it's just guitars, so you don't have to mess around with all the other garbage.
Yeah.
Nothing against synth players and drummers and everything, but hey, this is a guitar show, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not called the
right.
synth knobs.
No. We have got a couple of announcements, and then we're going to get into some awesome chitter chatter about guitar gear and everything with our friend Blake.
Chitty chitty bang bang.
First, I want to do a really, really big shout out all the way down in Australia at Rode. Nick Stillman, our man at the helm down there, still looking out for us. We had a nice little email exchange, hadn't talked in a little bit. And, Nick, I know you listen to the show, so we salute you, my friend, all the way down there. And we really, truly hope to meet you someday, maybe at a NAMM or something like that.
What's going on with Rode?
Still making awesome stuff. They're always coming out with new great stuff.
Cool.
So, hopefully we'll have a little chat with him soon.
Nice.
And then I also wanted to bring up, I had an interesting conversation on Instagram with a friend of mine who I met at a show. Total strangers. Met at a show. Bang. We're like
Besties.
guitar broskis.
You're
It's
besties.
great. And we both grew up in the same area, went to the same shows and didn't even know it. Now we're in Ohio and we didn't even know it. So his name is Hex Matos and he is a hell of a guitar player.
Oh yeah.
So anyways, he said, he said, dude, I had one of those weird, stupid guitar moments. This is ridiculous. Do you remember me telling you about the Mystic Gold Anniversary Strat that I have? Which he showed me. It's, ooh la la. That is, you guys know, I'm not,
You don't like the Stratocaster
It's not that I hate them. They're not for me. But man, that Mystic Gold Anniversary is absolutely beautiful. It's like gold, like with the red fire sparkle stuff.
Oh, yes.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful.
It's like glowing lava.
Yeah,
with sparkles.
it's really amazing. He said that for some reason that one just doesn't do it for me. Well, I decided to put the stock pickguard back on it to get ready to sell it or trade for another guitar. He had, since he bought it, he installed a white pearl pickguard, and for some reason the tone just wasn't there. Which it was like, that doesn't sound like that makes sense, because like why would pickguard affect your tone?
It doesn't.
Well, for some reason the tone wasn't there, and after I changed the guard and readjusted the pickup height to specs, I decided to plug it in and play. Lo and behold. No, you guys still don't know how to do that. You say low.
No.
And you say behold.
Behold.
Yes. That's how this works.
Okay. We'll get it right next time.
Yes, let's try it again. Lo and behold.
Lo and behold.
Yes. Excellent. It came alive, and it looks even better. Is it psychological?
Yes.
All of you people out there can understand and relate. Hell, you can even talk about it on the show. LOL. That's what we're doing right now.
That's what we're doing.
So his question, Tony.
Yes. No. The
question
answer is no. I don't even need the question.
Can something as ridiculous as a pickguard make a difference?
No.
It's your adjustment. That makes all the world the difference.
I suspect it was he had, when he put the other guard on, he didn't have the pickups in the sweet spots.
Right.
And there are some issues with different types of pickguard material and some players. Depending on the pigments that are used and different things like that, some players actually have a grounding or a static electrical issue. And it doesn't affect every player, but some players it does. And I find it commonly on mint material. And
really?
I suspect it's either the pigment that they use or something like that. But honestly, it doesn't make any... It's plastic, for God's sakes.
Well, yeah.
I mean, visually, yeah.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine a situation... I mean, if somebody over-shielded
I think you're doing a really crap job of selling how important a pickguard is, Tony.
No, I mean, visually, absolutely. If you want to change pickups, absolutely. But it doesn't affect the tone of the instrument unless, and this is a big unless.
Unless you want it to, and Tony can help you out.
Well, no, let me finish. Allow me to finish my thought.
All right.
Because if somebody puts too much grounding on the backside of a pickguard,
like the copper stuff,
or
the aluminum stuff,
and back in the day, Fender put a big hunk of aluminum behind it.
They did.
It essentially creates, and all the electronic guys out there are going to yell at me, but it essentially creates a capacitor, and that capacitor takes off some of your high end.
No kidding.
Yes. That's why everybody always says, do you shield the back of your guards?
Well, actually, if you look at...
But maybe if you want that, that's
if you look
cool.
at a pickup
it makes sense on
the
Fenders.
Pickup book, you'll see that there are a magnetic flux field, and that goes in front and in back of the pickup itself,
which affects your magneticbloom.com.
Exactly does exactly. So that the big hunk of aluminum or whatever the heck.
Yeah. Well,
that will affect
as we were talking about the Jaguar pickups with the claws. I mean, what do you think about that,
Blake?
Man, I am learning so much right now. I feel like I am back in school.
Well, you have it from a lifelong pickup builder who's basically, a pickguard builder and a pickup builder, but a pickguard builder. Both these guys are saying it doesn't matter. So they're definitely not shilling their goods right now. They're being honest about that.
No, and I don't think anybody buys a pickguard to improve their tone.
I do.
Well,
I don't know any better.
That's to distract them from looking at you.
That's true.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
But no, in all honesty, I don't think that makes any difference tone-wise. Yeah. Again, unless it's over-shielded. And in some cases, that might be preferable because I think back in the day, Leo, said, oh, these are a little bright. How about we throw some, that piece of aluminum behind there and make it a little less bright?
Yeah.
And I think, that I believe that to be the case.
That would make sense because my Telecaster has a copper shielded back, and It isn't nearly as ice picky as some Telecasters.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jared, and let's talk about Telecaster bridge pickups. Some have a copper plate.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Some have a
Jared?
steel plate.
The steel.
Blake,
and
do you
some
know
are
about
zinc,
the copper plate on the pickups on the Telecaster?
zinc
Absolutely
covered
not.
copper?
Okay, we're both learning here.
Covered zinc.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there is a tonal difference.
There is, but I don't know.
So explain it to me. So explain it to me.
I would have to revisit that. It's been a while since I messed
Yeah.
with Tele stuff.
Just does it.
It just. But
I
it
work
does.
for Gibson. Dang it! Not Fender. I don't know that you're going to be able to hear it with your ears.
Yeah.
You know, I think you'd have to A/B it
Yeah.
in the same
Probably.
guitar
That
with
would
the
be a
same
really good
everything.
test. You should have Zach do that.
And and with the Soundwave computer program, I think you're going to see a difference there.
Yeah.
Like the overall.
Well, thanks, Hex, for throwing us into a quandary and
That was a good discussion. Blake,
Tangent.
do you have any Teles or Strats?
I do. I bought a couple Strats this year, and I've had a few Teles. So I have like a 72 thin line reissue and a Nash.
Oh, yeah.
A made in Mexico thin line?
Yeah.
So it's got the good neck.
Yeah, when it first came out, the
Yeah.
very, very first one I bought, put it on layaway actually.
They got good necks
That's
Yeah.
for sure.
the Nash stuff is really good too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool, man. Let's see here. Well, now you're probably all wondering, like, what is under my stuff? I wonder if you're going to go look at it.
I think he should
Yeah. I think you should. I think you should pull them all apart.
during the podcast.
Don't do that during the podcast. We need you to focus, man.
Get some wide range from Brandon.
So
Long.
let's talk about what's going on in our music worlds this week. For those of you who are new to the show, this is where we just kind of dip in and do a quick round table about like, what's going on with us real quick. And we're going to start with Tony and then jump over and hear from Blake.
Okay. So this was I've been having these crazy good weeks. And so I'm going to narrow it down to just a couple of things, both involving Rickenbackers. A while back, Jared made me a set of Rickenbacker style bass pickups.
That's right.
Now, traditionally, in the case of Rickenbacker, and when they would put a toaster, for instance, in a bass guitar, they used a guitar pickup, which
Right.
had 6 pull pieces.
They were already made. They were in a bin.
They were in a bin somewhere. They just yanked them out.
Yeah.
Now, you might be saying to yourself, well, did it work? Well, yeah, it worked. It's just that those 6 magnetic pull pieces created a magneticbloom.com. And
I'm not getting anything from that. There's nothing there. I just got the URL. That's it.
and so I said, you know what, Jared? Before you go on your journey into the land of Nashville, can you make me, and I had absolutely no idea what they were going to sound like, but I said, to me, it makes sense because on their high gains, Rickenbacker high gain pickups, they have 4 pull pieces. With the rubberized magnets that you know. So, but I prefer the older style that have
The Alnico. Yeah, the 1/4 inch.
So I said, can you make me a bridge and a neck pickup for a bass with just 4 true Alnico 5 magnet pull pieces?
Yep.
And he did. And I finally had an opportunity to get him installed into an instrument that I can't go into a lot of detail about for some reason or other. And but I actually think they sound really good.
Thank you, Tony.
So so it was an experiment for both of us, and I'm glad that we did it, and now I know. The second thing was I got my Super Deluxe Edition
Oh,
Rickenbacker book.
holy moly.
Oh, wow. That looks
He
fancy.
just broke it out right here,
Fancy
everybody.
pants.
It's
I
right in
just
front
broke
of us.
it out right in front of you. And I have number 81 of 800.
Wow. That is a lovely
Signed
set.
by the authors.
Wow.
Yeesh.
It was ridiculous.
Are we going to get them on the show?
I'm working on it as we speak.
We'll have to spread it out. We don't want too much Rick in one,
Yeah.
you know.
But what's cool about the Super Deluxe Edition, you get the book, a hardbound book,
Yeah.
as opposed to the soft cover. You also, they made softcover book of all of the Rickenbacker catalogs.
That's so cool.
That is very
And they go back to
special.
the 30s for that. And there's a special poster section that they did a reprint from the Rose Morse Rickenbacker versions. All of the Beatle
Wow.
guitars.
Wow.
And all of Paul Weller's Rickenbackers. Paul Weller from the Jam and Style Council.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And this was the most money I ever spent on a book.
I was just about to say, do you,
I
do
don't
you
even
feel
want
like telling us?
I don't even want to disclose.
400.
No, it wasn't 400,
Oh.
but it was still a lot of money.
And Jared's like, well, pish posh. If it's not 400, it's nothing.
It's crap. But honest to God, if you have any interest at all at Rickenbackers and the history of
That is a
Rickenbacker,
beautiful looking book, man.
it's incredible.
That looks high quality.
The authors went into such detail. The photography is beautiful. I just love it. And so to me, it was worth every penny I spent.
Yeah.
It might not be to other people. Some people might want to just settle for the soft cover edition. But I liked all of the extra stuff, and I love the catalog reprints. So it's put out by a company called Phantom Publishing.
Yeah.
They're in the UK.
Yep.
At some point, I would imagine it might be available through Amazon or whatever. But this was an early release, and I got it. I got it before everybody else.
That's neato. That's like the steak Neptune of books.
The what?
You know, the steak when they put the crab on top of it and
Oh.
everything. That's the old 50s dish.
Ah, yeah.
And then you get baked Alaska after that.
I love me some baked Alaska. So a pretty eventful week in my book.
That's very cool. Blake, that's a hard act to follow. What's going on in your music world?
That's a beautiful book.
Yeah, and I'm a huge Rick fanboy.
You got to
Ooh.
get this. You got to get this.
Yeah, that actually sounds like
It's
something.
less than 400. Don't worry.
Well, the soft cover edition I think is 40 or 45 plus shipping.
Yeah,
But this
is if
this,
you are a fan of Rick's, that's the one to get.
That is a special collection.
I mean they had an early bird
How
special
many
on
pages is that?
it. Many.
Many.
300
something pages.
36 pages.
And
it's like the Bible.
amazing photography. It's different than that.
And it comes in a slipcover too.
And shorter.
Yeah, much shorter. But yeah, I mean it's definitely. I mean the hardcover one with the catalog reprints and the posters. If you love
a lot of
Rick's,
stuff in
Yeah.
there.
do it.
That bicycle's just like a dump truck.
Pretty much.
Okay, so Blake, sorry, we hijacked that real quick. What's going on in your music
it's
world?
okay. I ordered my first custom amp.
Ooh.
This
Holy
week.
smokes.
Do
I've
tell.
never done anything like that before. It seems really weird. I like vintage amps mostly. I've got quite of a. Well, I used to have a pretty large collection of amps, but I sold them off over the years, and now I'm slowly trying to acquire some of those back. But I ordered a Truman amplification.
Yes. It's
they-
a Russian.
Yeah, they're kind of a new. I don't know if they're like new, but they make fuzz pedals and stuff. And I was
Gorgeous ones.
working. Yeah, I was working on one of those for a customer, and I reached out to Hercules that works over there.
Right.
And I kind of was just inquiring about, how can I best do some mods to this pedal that won't make it, it's beautiful. It's a work of art, I think. And we got to talking about, amps and stuff, and they have this new model that's like a real small plexi style amp that they're coming out with. It seems super cool. And
Yeah, it's like a 212, isn't it?
well, it's a 112 and a tall vertical cab.
Okay. All right.
And so I thought the idea was pretty interesting because it reminded me of some of the stuff that like Benson does. And
Yeah.
I love Benson. And I looked at the dimensions and it's tiny. And I was like, man, I can't, I don't really have a use for like a tiny bedroom amp, but if I'm going to do something, I'd like to have a full size, vertical 212 amp. Can you like make me something? He's like, yeah, we can throw something together. There was a model that they were going to come out with that he was like, why don't we just kind of base it off of this? And it'll have a attenuator built in. It'll also have a cab sim, direct out, all this stuff. And I was like, man, this
Wow.
is this is like super cool. So pulled the trigger on that.
Those
and it'll
are
probably take,
beautiful too.
Yeah, they like do hand lacquer painting and everything like that. So
Yeah.
it's like it's a unique piece. You know, it'll be something that like I don't know, it'll take like 6 months to get made. So pretty excited about that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I've actually reached out to them to get on the show because I'm just tired of looking at these gorgeous pedals.
It's
And
incredible. It's huge too. Like, you know, it looks big, but then when you get it in hand, you're like, this is a massive pedal. And the amount of work that they do to it is quite a lot, you know, internally, externally, everything. So super cool.
Very cool. That's exciting. What color?
I haven't decided, but I think I'm going to go with like the company colors. So like a metallic flake gold with black.
Man, too cool. Too cool.
Yeah.
They're not afraid of color, which is really neat. You know,
not at all.
They just put it out there.
Yeah.
I remember I guess it was pretty recently. It was like all of a sudden there was all these Truman amps coming out. I was like, what? I think I actually sent it directly to you.
You did, yeah.
Because I was like, whoa, this is amazing.
They're also building guitars too.
Yeah, they do guitars, pedals, amps, pretty much everything, and they have like a dedicated designer and everything. I mean, it's a full scale operation.
Well, I'm looking forward to that if we can get them on, and very excited for you. I'm sure we'll be seeing pictures of what when you get that.
Oh yeah.
Jared.
Oh yes. So a couple of things. Number one, I am so excited going to Akron tomorrow to finally get my Martin D35. Yeah, finally. It's got a Brazilian back and sides.
Does that mean they put wax on it and rip the hair off?
Probably. Whatever they do, those things sound really good. I'm really excited to get it. I bought it I think the summer before last. Yes, summer before last.
Yeah. I remember when you got that one.
It was a while back. And finally
so what did they do to it?
So Martins are finished before they're actually put together. So they took it apart and they totally refinished the whole guitar because I think it was in a house fire, but none of the wood burnt. It just
got real smoky looking.
It got real smoky looking, the finish. You saw it. I think I showed it to you, didn't I? Maybe not in person. But it was pretty rough. But Lay's, they've had it there for a long time, and they took care of it, and they're finally getting around to it. Another thing I want to do.
What year was that one again?
It's 1969. The last year they put Brazilian
rosewood
on the back and sides.
Nice.
And that makes the price so different. It's so crazy. So crazy, the price difference between a Brazilian rosewood and an Indian rosewood.
Yeah,
it's
rightfully
crazy.
so.
But so I was in a social media group, and I was looking at this 1962 ebony block that somebody posted, and I went through the pictures and checked it out, and I noticed the headstock just looked weird and wonky. Like it was a really beat up guitar, and the finish on it is fantastic. It's a Pelham blue finish.
Ooh.
And they did a great job on the finish, but the headstock, I would have had the wings redone on that. You know how the Gibson headstock has I would have totally redone that. And Gibson now makes a fantastic headstock overlay, and I would have replaced it. But whoever did this didn't do that, and I made a comment on the post. I said, man, that's a beautiful finish, beautiful guitar. I know it's original, but that headstock is pretty beat up. It looks wonky. And I got attacked for saying that. I got attacked.
Did you think that wouldn't happen?
I'm like, let it go. I'm like, I honestly was thinking about offering on this guitar, but because that headstock wasn't done very well, they want $8,000 for this thing, and it's not. It's not even.
Is this the Paul that you showed me?
This is the Les Paul. This is it. I just showed you the headstock.
Okay.
It was the headstock. They did a great job refinishing. Let me tell you, but they didn't they didn't totally restore the headstock.
Let me see.
It's just not. It's
Just a little weird.
yeah, where the tuners go, it's everything's sunken in because they had different tuners on it, and it's just really badly wore down. They could get a new an overlay.
That's a lot of money
veneer
for something that has a.
If it's done right, you can ask for a lot of money.
Yeah,
but it's not.
But that's what I'm saying.
Everything else was done great, and it just kills me because it's such a great looking guitar.
You're saying this is a refin too?
That is a refin, absolutely. Well, yeah, they say it is. It's a neck reset too, so that kills the price too. But
yeah,
well, you know, people are trying to get every little dollar they can because of the vintage prices are just sky high right now.
It's a handsome guitar.
It is,
man. Well,
but if you have an eye, then you're going to notice how wonky the headstock looks. So,
that's not true.
but, yeah. Anyway, so I just wanted to share that little
Oh,
ditty.
that's cool. That's nice to know.
Super nifty.
What about you, Todd Lee?
Well, my guitar week was very exciting because we got featured, my band, the Valentinos.
Yes.
You can check us out on Spotify and all the places. The Valentinos. We got covered for a show that we did.
You know, I'm going to start a band called the Super Valentinos.
Okay.
The evil Valentinos.
Yes. Anyways, so the photographer she actually came out to our very first show and captured some amazing photos. So
wow.
she followed up. She goes, "Hey, I'd love to cover this, thing for you." Like, absolutely, come on out. Well, I didn't know it was. I thought it was just going to be like some, little thing. We opened up the website, and I mean, it's like we're front and center on this website called soundcheck.ca. It's Canadian, and but they cover international.
You know why you got covered like that? Because your guitar looks awesome.
Well,
It's either that or because he uses tour gear design cables.
Yeah. Anyways, so the crazy thing is, we're on the front of this website. I don't know if it's still that way, if they've got new articles up. I don't even know, and I don't want to know because in my mind it's always like this. Now I'm personally not a fan of Imagine Dragons, but they're pretty huge.
Yeah.
So in order, when you look at the website, there's four main images. Number one is Imagine Dragons. Number two is catching up with the Valentinos, followed by an article about Santana and an article about Primus.
Yeah. You're in good
what
company.
What the hell just happened?
You're in very good company.
I could not believe it. That was a crazy thing. And the coolest part about it, I love my bandmates and everything, but the image that they used is the Hagstrom that I have, the black Hagstrom with the gold pickguard, and it's just like blammo right there.
Wait a minute, a gold pickguard? Who would have made that for you?
That's a Pickguardian pickguard.
And my pickups.
I am a little bummed that they
gonna
one wasn't featured with Vinny, my new Gullet Guitar Co. Guitar, but I do love the Hagstrom Viking. It's pretty rad.
Yeah, it's good.
So it was very, very surreal. I never imagined, anything like that. We play because we love playing, and we've got things we've got creativity to offer.
Yeah.
But, who knows if anything or nothing will come of that. But
You're going to be huge in Canada.
We did see a spike on Spotify. I mean, It was like blink. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's cool. We'll take that.
It.
We can go buy a candy bar.
Yeah, you earned your quarter that week.
So anyways, that was pretty dang neato. You never know when something crazy like that's going to happen to you.
Congrats, good buddy.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hey, Todd, speaking of Canadian things.
Yes, it's been a topic of conversation as of late.
Yes, it has. Have you ever heard of Tour Gear Design patch cables?
Not only have I heard of them, but they're all over my board, actually, and a couple other things. Yes, sir. And because I've heard of them early on.
Yes.
Mind you, we basically secured a little deal with them.
Yes.
So you can go to tourgeardesigns.com and get yourself these amazing flat patch cables with the tiniest diameter
Crepe.
jack Mm-hmm. Yes. Shape like flat.
Wait a minute.
Diameter
Was
like
it
jack.
Tour Gear Designs on one of our podcasts?
They were on one of the podcasts, and I can't tell you the number right now because I'm busy talking.
I believe it's number 873.
870. What? Okay. Someday. Anyways, go over to tourgeardesigns.com and use the guitar knobs for
Spell it out, all one word.
the guitar knobs. And you're going to save 10% on your entire order.
And you're going to get a bunch.
Yep. You
Not
probably
only
will.
are they affordable and reliable, they come in all these lengths and different sizes and shapes.
Yeah.
Shapes and stuff.
Which, and people are sometimes will say, why does the lengths and stuff matter? Because if you're running like a 2-level board, like you got ones at the top and ones at the bottom, somehow you got to connect the ones that are on the right to the ones, or the ones that are on the left down to the ones on the right, or vice versa, or whatever.
Yeah.
You need a long cable to do that, and
Or sometimes you need a short cable.
or a short cable.
So you don't have slop all over your board.
Yes, this is anti-slop cables. That's
I think that should be the new
it's a bumper
tagline.
sticker. Yeah.
Anti-slop
Anyways,
cables.
tourgeardesigns.com and go get your 10% off with the guitar knobs. Jared?
Let me get a little bit of this.
1, 2, 3. 4 on the floor. All right. Blake from Kaisertronics. We need to hear your 4 on the floor.
So first, I think this should be like standard issue Benson preamp. I mean, like, why not?
We've had a lot of those lately.
Yeah.
It sounds amazing. It's a JFET cascading, JFET preamp, which you can't make that thing sound bad. It has a lot of gain on tap too. So you can do whatever you want to with it. It's super flexible. It's always stayed on my board. I even had a Chase Bliss, the preamp MK2, and that's essentially that's made with Benson, and it's a Benson preamp plus a lot of different features. And so I've had either that or just the standard basic preamp on my board for years now.
So you're talking JFETs. What can you give us just kind of a brief rundown on the different types of? I'm guessing those are the diodes or transistors.
Transistors. So it's, a cascading JFET circuit is just a bunch of those in series. Mm-hmm. And so what it does is it basically gives you a really, I hate the word transparent, but very amp-like.
Amp-like, that's good.
Yeah, that's the new.
Yes, amp-like.
Words. No organic, no transparent. Amp-like. So it is it works with your amps really well if you already like your tone and you don't like a lot of color shaping or those kind of things, or shades.
That sounds like another pedal that we're going to talk about a little bit later.
Yes.
Very
I have a thing for JFETs.
Nice.
Very cool.
But so that would be definitely first.
You run that first. Where is that in your lineup?
Well, it just depends. Like if I have a fuzz that doesn't play nice with anything, that's got to go first. But usually, it's like right at the front end. Mm-hmm. It's so flexible though, man. I don't know. It's just a great, I think the best $250 you could spend.
Okay.
You're going to get your money's worth.
Maybe there's
in a pedal board.
You could either that or get a Rickenbacker book.
Yeah.
Well,
or another pedal that we might talk about. Now, I think this is something we haven't really covered, but it's something that I always end up spending probably too much time on with a preamp. How do you run that? Do you tend to run that hot? Do you tend to is it kind of like it's on and you leave it and you don't mess with it? How do you?
For me, it's always on. Mm-hmm. And so it acts as like my first gain stage that kind of pushes the amp because I mostly I've been playing a lot of like silver face Fenders. And so I kind of set the amp on just the edge and then kind of use the pedal to kind of when you dig in, give you a little bit of grit. Mm-hmm. But man, if you just turn the gain up, max it out on that preamp, man, it gets a little fuzzy. It's super cool.
That's cool.
Nice.
All right. What's next?
So fuzz. I think I could never play without some type of fuzz, but I'm kind of particular on that because some of them are just not, functional. They're just fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a guy that if it's going to take up space on a board, I kind of want it to be functional. And so I look for fuzzes that have bias knobs, just so you can just kind of pull out the actual tone that you want. And that's super important to me. And I like traditional circuits like MK2s, tone benders, MK3 tone bender, 4s, things like that are really kind of raunchy and full frequency. Not a lot of the I like MK1s. It's just not my color if I'm going to put it on my board typically. So I would go with, there's a company called Espresso Effects, and they make a lot of really cool Mojo builds, but they have a custom shop MK2 that I really, really like. It's got bias control on it. And just pretty much anything that, I kind of like is contained in a pedal like that. And so that would be.
Now you say you like the bias control. Can you tell us what exactly that does?
Yeah, so it just affects the voltage going into the transistors.
Okay,
and so
you either starve it or feed it.
Yeah, and so you, depending on how the pedal is wired, you could have separate bias controls for, if you have a 2 transistor, like a fuzz face, you can have, a bias control for the first and the second. The first one's not going to do tons, but it can be set. You're basically setting resistance values, and so. You see typically, if you're going to have a knob on the outside of bias control, it's typically going to affect a transistor towards the end of the circuit. And you get a lot of really fun sounds out of that.
Very nice. Very nice. Number 3.
Yes. Chorus. I couldn't live without some type of chorus. And I'm kind of a purist when it comes to, basically, if I could just play a tube-powered JC120, that would be kind of what I would do. But since I don't want to play a JC120 all the time, a Boss C2 is a great choice. And then specifically the C2W with the CE1 mode is kind of what I'm digging.
That's the Wazacraft?
Yeah. It's super cool. All their Waza stuff that they're coming out with now, it's just like, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's
Nice.
word on the street.
Yeah.
Number 4.
Kind of a throwback. Eventide Space. I've had that.
Oh.
I have had that forever, and it's super in depth. It's way more pedal than I'd ever need.
Unlike the current version.
And it is there's so many good. This black hole mode on it is just, you kind of get some of those swimming reverbs that are really cool, because I keep reverb on all the time. I'm really kind of into new wavy kind of stuff, and so I really like those big huge washes and wall of sound kind of thing with a tremolo arm being used quite a bit. So it's Now, when you have a reverb on all the time, do you run sort of like maybe a low effect reverb and an additional, like, for effect occasionally? No, so I do run everything super low. So my mix is you can set a mix value on the space, and it's usually like at 12 to 14. So it's super out of 100, and so it's super low. And I just kind of like this, like, if you wanted my sound in a nutshell, there's this band called White Lies, and one of their first albums is basically exactly how I've always wanted to sound. And it's just this constant low, reverb in the background that kind of just is a nice compliment to everything you play, because you can hear everything. It's not super washy, but it really does kind of just give you this really cool constant sound.
Nice.
I like it.
If that makes any sense. I don't even know if that makes sense.
Yeah. I run my reverb pretty low as well, and I have that going through the HX Stomp, but it's just sort of on-ish.
Yeah, and the space stuff is super textural. It's not like a dry tube, not like tube reverb's dry, but like basically, like, it's sort of one-dimensional, like a amp reverb. It's super cool. but this has like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's so much bigger because there's probably multiple effects built into that, that they're trying to like, piece together to make that big, huge sound. But it's more of like, I don't know, room mixed with hall mixed, you know what I mean? The algorithms are like huge and super cool.
Excellent. Well, let's see. I think that's 4, isn't it?
I counted
That's
4.
4.
Whew. That's a good 4. Man, every single time we get new stuff, I love it.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go for, we're going to get into this interview business here and find out a little bit more about Blake and what is driving his Kaisertronics awesomeness. I think Jared has a great kickoff since we've been talking about settings and what we like to play and why we like to play it.
So, Blake, I got a question. What was your first song that really made you want to play the guitar?
Oh.
Like, what was it? What was the band or the song?
Can I do? Yeah,
Take it a little more. Can you describe that a little bit more,
Was
Jared?
it the band?
Simplify that utterly simple question a little bit more.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. A band made me play. Actually, my
Well,
dad did.
Well, that's what we're talking about. Another band, not his own song.
Yeah.
Okay, Blake, go before you.
Yeah.
Where Jared explodes.
So it's definitely Cream. I mean,
Really?
yeah, I still look back and I'm like, man, and I don't even know if it was Sunshine, but it was definitely Cream. And I think I had a greatest hits album that my uncle got me.
Huh.
And I remember we lived in Washington State. We were like traveling up for Christmas to like the beach way out, and it's super cold. And I remember just listening to that album on a, like a little Discman,
Mm-hmm.
And it just was like, I think I Feel Free was the very first song on there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And I was like, man, this is it.
This is a great song.
Like, I'd never heard a band like that. And it sounds so weird now, like in retrospect, because, it's pretty basic, but it was just, that was definitely it.
That's see.
I wouldn't have
so
expected that.
No, I didn't mean either. But actually, coming out of that part of the country, I can understand that if that's where you were living.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
I got one more question for you, though, Blake.
Alrighty.
What was the first electric guitar that you acquired?
It was a Yamaha Pacifica. And I still have it.
So you never forget where you came from.
yeah.
I never actually got an acoustic first. My parents got me an electric.
I didn't either.
Lessons.
I
at the
bypassed
same
that
time.
altogether. Those are hard to
Yeah.
play as a kid.
Yeah, I did.
Nice.
That's how I learned. That's why I dig in so hard on the fretboard.
I'm not an acoustic guy. And well, hey, while we're talking about that, so in influences in guitars, I think that there's probably some moment when a young guitarist is like, okay, I hear it, I want to do a thing, and then they see, in particular, somebody's guitar, and they're like, whoa, that's cool. I kind of like that. I don't know what it does, but I want it. Mm-hmm. Do you have a guitar that inspired sort of your thirst for guitarness?
There's probably more than I'm.
That's okay. You can answer a couple.
So
Doesn't have
many.
to be one.
You know what I do remember is the first time I saw a No Doubt video, and it was a Flying V,
Oh yeah.
and I was like, they make a guitar.
It's probably not, don't
looks
speak.
like that. It was just a. Why do I remember all
just
that?
a girl.
It was just a girl. They're like in
can
a
see that.
bathroom and like
Yeah.
outside, and it was
Great tune, though.
weird. Yeah, and I was like, I don't know if it was Seafoam Green or something like that, but like that was like the first. You know what? There's another one. If it doesn't bore you.
No,
I saw this
that's what
show.
It's
It was
all
in-
about, man.
I saw the show in Nashville. It was a showcase show, some band, and this is when I was really young. So I maybe like 95, something like that, 94. And I remember going in. I'd never really heard like really heavy, droney, I don't even know what grungy kind of music at that point.
Shoegaze music.
Yeah. But it was crazy. So these guys in these suits that I know the band name is 9-Volt Velvet. They're not around anymore. But like I went into this like Gibson showcase show at like in downtown Nashville, and these guys were just like, the sound was like murder. It just sounded so loud and so big. And I met the band afterwards with my dad, and like I looked at their pedal boards and I was like, this is insane. Like they had all these pedals, and they were playing Rickenbackers and in black and white suits, like, you know, like old 60s thin tie, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, this
Like
like
Hives.
this
Yeah,
is
like
the
the
weird.
Hives.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but like we're talking way, you know, way early. And I was like, man, this is, I think somewhere in there that was super formative to me.
Yeah.
And that was like the first time I ever saw Big Muff. And then the next week I went out and bought brand new Sovtech Small Stone and Big Muffs, and they're like $55.
Oh, the old days.
The green boxes, big boxes. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Right on.
They're big wood boxes, aren't they? The big muff?
Yeah, they came in wood crates.
Wood crates.
I
yeah.
actually made a pickup winder out of one of those boxes.
Oh
No
man.
kidding.
I still have it.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, when I came over the first time, you're like, that's what this is. I was like, that's weird. That's too cool, man. Hey, while we're on it, guys, this is a super fun part of conversation. Tony, how about you? Was there somebody's guitar or something that you were really influenced early by?
Well, I mean, like the first time I saw Rickenbacker, you know, like the Beatles,
Yeah.
that just, I mean, there was just something otherworldly about that instrument. I mean, since that time, of course, I've come to appreciate other instruments or other guitars. I
Okay,
should
so
say.
but that the Beatles thing, like that's your you're a kid, tiny kid. But when you started going like, all right, I'm a grown man kid,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna rock the world with guitar. I don't know what to do it with yet, but that guy's thing is really cool.
Yeah,
What's that?
probably Peter Buck from REM.
Really?
Yeah,
It's a good one.
Interesting.
yeah. I always liked. I mean, I always liked Townsend. I mean, to me, Townsend is kind of the ultimate guitarist. He's a great rhythm guitarist.
He's a showman, too.
And he's a showman, and he's actually a pretty decent lead player too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good licks.
But I always enjoyed.
Remember that song "Eminent Front"?
Well, they did give him a little bankroll, right?
That was so mean. Why did I do that?
I don't know.
Anyways, that
Why
was
do you have to
terrible.
be so? Why do
He's
you
a good-
hate the
he's
Who?
a great guy. I don't hate the Who.
I don't know. But anyhow, well, you know, early on, Pete was a Rickenbacker player.
Yeah.
But I mean, I remember him more from the the SG days, and then into the Les Pauls that his deluxes that he would have a 3.
You're old
pickup.
enough to actually remember when the Who was the Who, when Keith Moon was still around.
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember Keith Moon.
Yeah.
I mean, he was still alive.
Yeah. Jared, about yourself?
Very absolute first guitar I ever saw that I wanted to have, that made me want to play, was my dad's Gibson Dove, and I have it. And then later on in life, as far as electric goes, it was Slash.
Wasn't I?
know.
What about the Black Beauty?
Yeah, he had one of those. I saw that in the picture.
But no, I thought, didn't your dad have a?
He did have a Black Beauty, and he sold that to get the Dove, that song, before I was around.
Okay.
So, I mean, he got that in 73. I was born in 77. And because he started having kids with Mom, that Dove is all he had for a long time.
Nice. Well,
And then I saw Slash play. Everybody else had Les Pauls. I just wanted a Les Paul so bad.
Yeah.
Took me a while to get one.
Yeah.
First Les Paul I ever bought was in Korea. A Gibson Les Paul was in Korea.
huh?
It was
Yeah.
a 79.
When you're in the military,
Yep. So
not the Korean War.
not the Korean War, but it was a ceasefire. And it still is today.
Still is.
Well, since we're going around the table, how about you, Todd?
Yeah, buddy.
I think, although I didn't necessarily rush out and copy it, the first one that made me stand up and go, okay, that is something special. And now you're gonna put these together. Do you know what it is, Tony?
I'm going to say something that has to do with Noel Gallagher.
No,
No?
Billy Zoom,
Ah.
his silver sparkle jet, dude.
It's
Oh my
way before
gosh.
Noel, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Billy Zoom.
That I mean, just I'd never seen anybody with a guitar that. I mean, it's just It's speedboat silver sparkle.
You're talking my language.
I mean,
Can I tell a Billy Zoom story?
yeah, please.
Okay. So this is years and years ago at Nashville NAMM. And Gretsch had a pretty substantial presence there, and they had just released the Billy Zoom model, artist model. And I'm looking at the Gretsch area. They have like a separate room, and outside is like where the artists and whomever would be there to there. And I see it's freaking Billy Zoom just standing there, and nobody is over there. So I went over to him, and I said, "Hey, you're Billy Zoom." And he said, "Yeah." I said,
Well, you're off to a good start.
"Yeah, we're off to the good start." And I introduced myself and what I was doing, making pick guards. He said, "Well, I don't have pick guards on my guitars."
So he basically wanted you to go away.
I said, "Okay." No, he was very, very accommodating, and I think he enjoyed having somebody to talk to. I was, I guess it was Nashville. They probably didn't know about X back then.
Yeah.
But
Which is hilarious because, he's...
Yeah.
He can,
But I mean that is so we just had a good chat, and in fact I've got that he signed I gave him one of my picks, he gave me one of his picks, and then he signed my a photograph that he had there. So
super cool.
But yeah, I mean, it was just fun, and I was upset that nobody was there to talk to him. But then again, the same thing happened at other NAMM shows with Peter Frampton. Nobody knew who Peter Frampton was because he didn't have the big head of hair.
Right.
And I chatted with him for probably 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah. Who knew?
I did.
Yeah. I think the other big influence early on was Billy Duffy from the Cult, because he had that huge Gretsch white fountain.
Yep.
And while I didn't necessarily want that, I was pulled into a large scale guitar. There was something really cool about this huge body guitar. It was like bigger than life, bigger than rock. Yeah, it's just like rah. Anyways,
well, let's shift back over to Kaisertronics.
Yes, Kaisertronics. We're doing that. Well, that was just a nice convo, like getting like, hey, now we all know where we're coming from, right, Blake?
Yeah.
Excellent.
I love X, by the way. I grew up listening to X.
Oh my gosh, I love them. Anyways, okay, so on our table right now, we've got two extremely handsome pedals.
Handsome.
Number one is, I'm going to pull this one up here. Number one is the VFD drive. Now, earlier in the podcast, you heard us kind of hemming and hawing about this like other pedal that might be another great purchase if you're going to buy some sort of said JFET type preamp type thing. And this is absolutely gorgeous. I love the look of this pedal. When I talked to Blake earlier on the phone, I said this reminds me of like when I was a kid in the 80s, like all electronics looked like this. It was either beige colored or it looked like this.
Yeah.
And so I love that throwback. And we got to talking about design style, and Blake shared that he was really into mid-century stuff, as have I been. And so, Blake, why don't you tell us about this drive, aside from the fact that we're gushing on how great it looks and sounds?
Well, thanks. It's a cascading JFET. Preamp is I guess it is. It's preamp, I think, just kind of implies it works kind of like an amp would to overdrive sound.
It's an amp. It has amp-like. It boosts your amp-like tone.
It's very organic.
Yeah, and transparent.
It's transparently organic.
Yeah.
So it's basically cascading JFET, and it has two modes on it. It's a low and a high mode. And so that was kind of what I wanted to do, was something a little bit different, depart a little bit from just kind of a traditional JFET preamp design, to give you a little bit more flexibility. And so it's meant to, it's not like a boost setting, which there's plenty of pedals out there that are kind of like a 2-stage boost. So you have another foot switch that has, an ability to boost just the regular tone. This, I wanted to have something more that's like flexible towards your board. And so like if you need a late stage gain drive, like something you want to throw after a couple other pedals, and you need something like that, you can put it in high mode and then use it like that. And then if you wanted just even like a a clean boost, it can do clean boost, or something like that. Just keep it in low mode and put it at the very front of, your drive section.
Mm-hmm.
Can I tell you a funny story about me trying out this pedal?
Yes.
So I almost called Todd and I said, I think he wired the high and the low switch backwards. Because, of course, I never go and read anything or, I just play with the stuff.
You just plug it in.
And then I realized after looking on the website, and I think it's even in the literature that comes with the pedal, it says, when you switch from low to high, you may experience a volume drop. And that's what I was experiencing. And I said, well, wait a minute. I switch it to high and the volume goes down. So
yeah, it basically what it does, and that's what's kind of the departure, is it introduces clipping diodes. And so anytime you're going to put clipping diodes in, they're obviously going to have a little bit less signal coming out. And so that's, most guys, what they do is put a gain stage after that to kind of do a volume makeup stage. But I liked the way it sounded, and I didn't really want to edit anything or change anything about it. And so that's why I kind of, the way that I was using it when it was even on the breadboard, I was like, man, just if I had a switch here, I could just use this anywhere on my board, and just set the mode and then turn the, it's got plenty of volume.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I just, I found what I liked, and that's what I ended up.
No,
awesome.
it's cool. And after, of course, I read what you have to do to compensate for that.
Yeah.
Oh, now it makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, aside from the fact that it's black and gold, which,
That's Todd's favorite colors.
All my stuff. What I found to be useful in that wasn't even necessarily that it was, a high or low factor, but how those, depending on what that setting was, how that played with the other pedals.
Right.
It was radically different. And I think I'm trying to remember if it was low or high, if one of them felt like it was much more like round and just a bigger tone.
Yeah.
And the other one kind of kept the cut, that the more cutting sound.
I think
the rest of my board.
If I remember right, I think the low setting, to me, I preferred the low setting.
Yeah.
Because when I kicked it in, I was using a guitar that had humbuckers in it.
Yeah.
And I was getting a lot of bass boost when I kicked it over into the high mode.
Yeah.
Which isn't a bad thing, but
It's just a thing.
It's just a thing. But I preferred the sound I was getting out of the low setting.
Yeah. And again, depending on where it is on your board, as Blake was pointing out, you could put it in the middle, you could put it at the end, you could put it at the beginning, and it's very, very versatile. And it doesn't. I feel like it has its kind of own character. It doesn't just sound like, oh, there's more signal, or oh, there's just more gain.
Yeah.
It introduces itself into the mix, and you can tell that pedal's on. I really, really liked it.
Thank you.
Yes. Well done.
Insert thank you here.
Some guys don't even like clipping diodes, and so, which is an interesting thing. Well, there's a lot of pedals using clipping diodes, but so when I first started, experimenting with non-clipping diode, gain stages to try to introduce more gain, cascading gain stages. It just was like, it opened up a whole nother door of possibilities. And I just said, I like both. I like pedals with clipping diodes. So I was like, man, I'm just going to throw both options in here. So it kind of is two different voices. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you really want to get super technical, but it might be a little hard to hear two completely different voices. But
it's a better way to say that instead of two different tones.
Yeah.
I think that's much more fair.
So it would be introducing the clipping diodes puts it more in the realm of
one's more throaty.
A fuzz.
One's more throaty.
Would you say?
You could get maybe really, really light fuzz tones out of it. And then you could actually, if you open it up, there is 2 trim pots inside that allow you to kind of fine tune the bias voltages. And so if you do that and you misbias it, you could get into a little bit of fuzzy territory there. But as it sits, I tune it pretty much, right stock,
where it's supposed to be.
4.5 volts. So
nice.
Very cool. And are these all available? Do you do in batches, or are you just like these are always in stock, or you do build them to order?
No, I'm such a no. I did like 10 of those, and you have one of the first run of 10. And then now I'm actually releasing a second batch that has a more Mojo internal turret build
wow.
version that I worked with Spruce Effects. Brian at Spruce Effects made the layout for me, which is super, super cool.
Right
super
on.
proud of that. And so hopefully have those done in the next month or so.
Excellent. We had them on their show almost about this time last year.
I think so.
Yeah.
Episode 675.
Yep, that's the one. That's the one. So let's talk about this other little beauty right here, and then we'll get into the bigger picture of what you're doing. Okay, this is. I love you. Just went for it. It's the Comrade. That's so great, and it is.
I would have liked to see
what is this color?
That is army green, baby.
Yeah, but isn't there a color for
olive drab.
Olive drab.
Olive drab.
Olive drab.
I would like to see a red star on that.
Yeah,
next
I love
run.
that pedal reminds me of being in a Humvee.
Yeah.
It really does. It's pretty cool.
Jared was a military police officer.
Yay.
Well, be proud of that, dude.
Yeah, in the
guess.
Army. That's pretty awesome, dude.
Well, of course, but
Okay, all right. Well, we'll just leave it there. So he's like, I got
Semper
my guitar
Fi.
in Korea.
Semper
and I'm done.
Fi, man.
No. Oh, jeez. Don't do that. You start.
I
no.
know.
right here.
I'm not a Marine, my friend.
Okay. Anyways.
Nothing wrong with that, but I'm just not a Marine.
Yep.
Why do you hate the Marines so much?
Okay, thanks, Tony. So back to the comrades. This is okay. I appreciate when you can see something that looks really simple, but you pick it up and it feels much more than that. I've seen a lot of versions of like a
Big muffs.
Russian muff,
Yeah.
and there's just something really extra special about this one. And
Well, I think both of these pedals, the thing that I like is they are solid versions of things that if you grew up with the original things,
Yeah.
you realized how flimsy the originals were.
Yeah.
These are solid. They look
the
cool.
pots are fantastic.
Yep, and the knobs are extremely cool on this one.
Yeah. The pots are like crust. It's like pizza crust. Like you can judge pizza crust like you can judge wine. You can. Oh yeah. And when you get a good pot, you're like, this is like, oh, turn the knob. Oh. Yeah, it's really nice. And you got these. Where are these knobs from? These things are huge.
Those are surplus Soviet Russian stuff.
Nice.
Wow. Some
Yep.
guys
Had
flying
to
around
go
in a MiG right
all
now going,
out,
what's
you know?
wrong?
Where are my knobs? Those damn guitar knobs stole my knobs.
110, I know. I don't know. He might be Count Chocula driving.
Blah, blah.
Anyways, so terrible. I don't know where that went.
Apologies to our Russian listeners.
So bad. Yeah, Boris is somewhere, just. Anyways, yeah, super cool. Really great look. It looks like it sounds. It is tough.
Yep.
It sounds simple and mean and well done, man.
Thanks. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
So, would you say is this a true version or is this a Kaiser version?
What? It's
Compared
so
to
I'll
like
just,
a Russian big muff.
It's not a muff at all.
Oh, it's not.
It's a fuzz face variant.
Ah.
So it is.
I knew that, Tony.
That's because I don't read anything.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny though. I mean, if you thought it was a muff, I mean, it's pretty woolly and big. I mean, it's not your traditional thin kind of. It's still cool, but a little bit, more trebly fuzz face. It's definitely tuned a lot more like aggressive, and it's got really big, Russian transistors in it. Germanium transistors.
When you buy one of these, ladies and gentlemen, the first thing you got to do is take the back off because
It's cool.
it's just really neat. It looks like scuba tanks in here. It's like Scuba Steve left his little tanks.
Scuba
He's also drowning. He goes, why? Where are the tanks? Everybody's missing stuff, and it's all in this pedal.
I push the button, nothing happens.
Yeah, it's it's just a 2 transistor fuzz face variant with a bias control external, and then there's a internal bias control on that nice little board that you see in there too. It's I custom made some eyelet boards, so it's all kind of like eyelet wired, a little bit with Mojo components, and I like circuits that look as cool as they sound. So
Yeah.
Well, it certainly does it. And I think that gives you just a little bit of extra appreciation when you see something under the hood. You're like, oh, it's like painted headers and stuff. It's like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, I rolled off the tone on my guitar and just played that one very loudly through my Vox, and it sounded great.
Yeah, it's super aggressive, and then like a traditional fuzz face, it does clean up pretty well too when you roll back on the volume, and so you have a lot of tonal flexibility. And so I really, I'm fairly new. Like I started Kaisertronics this year, and
I
was on you right from the beginning, man. Just want you to know that.
Yeah,
Caught my eye right away.
Kaiser.
And I started building pedals back in like 2012, and just played around. I didn't do anything original until this year. And so when I first started out this year, I was like, I want to take like 2 or 3 circuits and learn everything it is to be learned, everything there's to be learned about that, and so I really kind of honed in on fuzz faces because I had neglected that circuit. I'd always thought it was just kind of like overdone. There's lots of guys making fuzzes out there, and what I realized, it's a simple circuit, but there's so much to making it sound good, and there's so many different variants of tones that you can get just based on transistors alone that make that circuit just, it's a wealth of tonal possibilities. And so I really wanted to try to build a lot of those this year and try to figure out how to understand that circuit on a different level. And so I built probably like 50 of them this year and sold. And they're really, really fun, and they can be tonally super flexible. So it's definitely something that earns its place on a board.
Right on.
Now, can I comment on your packaging?
You may.
That's a bigger conversation. Hang on. Just wait a second. Jared?
Yeah, I had a question. So I love the Army theme or military theme you have on the Comrade. So what made you come up with that name, Comrade, for the pedal?
So all of my names kind of are playful, so they tie back into the pedal, and so to some degree. So that one has Russian transistors, and I was like, okay, so what am I going to do here? And so I said, what's a good generic Russian, American word?
Comrade.
There you go. That was it.
I like it.
Now is it my turn, Todd?
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to get that out there because when you pick it up and you go like, okay, it's named Comrade. It's got 3 knobs. Oh, it's a Russian muff, just like you did,
Just like I did.
So
Yeah.
what was but it's not. So what was the trickery behind the trickery?
Yeah, they're all just like I make another fuzz face that uses, other types of transistors that look like a little flying saucers, and it's called UFO. So
well,
there you go.
perfect.
it's like the most obvious thing. I'm not a smart man. You just go, hey, this sounds great. So let's go with that.
On to the next big thing. I think that I was gushing on the opening video that I did of this. Go ahead.
The packaging is top notch, and the thing that I really like is when I open up the box, and your little phraseology there that says, go make good music.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Well,
I love the paper. You kind of made it look like it just came out of a Russian vault
It's
somewhere.
like new old stock letterhead.
Yeah. I love it.
That's
It's
exactly what it looks like.
And
From like 62.
and it's just again, the packaging is probably as handsome as the pedals. I mean,
I appreciate that.
Maybe
Thanks.
even more so.
Yeah. I really wanted to, I don't like just sort of going halfway. And so it was one of those things where I was just like, I'm going to have some really cool elements. And
I like it.
I wanted to
I mean, it's very
cohesive package.
very, very, kind of 50s military retro.
Yeah.
Yeah, all that stuff, the industrial equipment from 50s or 40s to 60s really was a huge influence on me growing up, and that and aeronautics and
Yeah, the logo kind of looks like McDonnell Douglas.
Yeah.
yeah
From
so
California.
space agey,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So
Like,
yep.
as soon as I saw it, I was like, McDonnell Douglas? I grew up right around where the McDonnell Douglas plant was. My dad worked there and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that's
I was
awesome.
like, oh, wow,
Yeah.
check that out.
Was that Long Beach?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. See, I know stuff.
Yeah.
I know stuff.
Now, with the packaging, you go into great detail, and I think it's one thing to say, "Oh, your packaging is great." No, the feel of the boxes, the printing on the boxes.
Yep.
You got foil print on them, and then the sheet that he was talking about. It isn't just a piece of paper. It's like it's sort of your certificate of authenticity as well. And you hand sign them, you hand number them, and you got all the information that you need about it. And that really does make it kind of feel extra special.
Yeah, that paper design, I used to make invoices out of those, and I was like, man, this would be super cool. Like this design, just ported over to the Kaisertronics stuff, and so I double printed out, old paper texture paint paper, and so I just keep a whole bunch of sheets of that on hand and just kind of print the manuals out on them. So
That's great, man.
That's nice.
Good work.
Yeah.
So you said you just started this about a year ago. Is that right?
Yeah,
A little over a
yeah.
year ago. What was the genesis of that? I mean, did you? I mean, I'm assuming you built pedals maybe for yourself or friends.
Yeah. So I grew up in the music industry in Nashville, and then when I moved out of there, I moved to like the middle of nowhere in Arkansas for a few years, and I was like super bored. I'm a guy that really likes using his hands to do stuff, and I didn't have a project to work on, and so I got into this like 2012. Got into sort of just I don't know, like ZVEX stuff was super trendy at that point.
Yep.
And so you could build, I guess, you can go online at that point and find some circuits and stuff. And I didn't have hardly any knowledge at all. So it was a lot of copying. You just kind of just plug and play, put the pieces in place and do that kind of thing. But I think the first circuit that I ever traced was the Emerson M Drive, which was a super simple little, kind of boost pedal situation. And that really was like, I was like, man, this is super cool, but I don't have enough knowledge to like make this, to really do anything with pedals. And so I kind of like did it for maybe a year or two. And I just kind of kept coming back to it just for fun, just for myself. I didn't build pedals for anybody else. And I was like, I'm not going to do this until I've got time to sit down and study. And when COVID hit, right, like everybody had all this abundance of time sitting at home. And I'm like, yeah, I think now is the time. So I just started watching YouTube videos and like reading books. And I had some really good friends that I was able to kind of hit up and just say, hey, what do I do about learning about circuits? And just kind of built as I go, like as I went that way and started breadboarding, and that's sort of like the evolution of pedal making.
Excellent.
So, do you have anything in the oven right now? Do you have anything that you're working on currently for the future? Anything worth mentioning? Any teasers? Anything of the sort?
So I'm kind of, I like the idea of just taking one circuit and getting really good at it. But the tone bender family of circuits has been on my list for 2022. So I think I'm going to take, just kind of like I did this year with fuzz faces and 2 transistor fuzzes, I'm going to take the 3 transistor fuzz next year and really start to just build a ton of those, because there's so much to learn about how those circuits work. The tone bender one is completely different from the 1.5, which is completely different from the 2. And so all of those give a different flavor, and all of them are equally super unique. And so that's kind of on my plate for next year.
Interesting. That's pretty awesome.
Well, and you're probably going to have to start making a whole bunch more of these VFD drives and stuff now. So just get
That's what
I'm excited for
comrade.
that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Blake, it has been super fun talking to you about your pedals and your company, and you obviously have a super big, bright future ahead of you in doing this, especially if you keep making things like we're looking at right now. We're really, really impressed, and we know that everybody who's listening, if you get your hands on one of these, will be as well.
Thanks so much, man.
You
Appreciate
are
it.
welcome. We are going to dip into the drive. We're going to hop in the El Camino.
That's right. That'll get you
We're
there.
just going to keep going with that. I actually had, anyways, so, well, that's another story. We're going to hop in the El Camino and take a drive past Jared's house, see if he's sitting on
Jared's
there.
driving this time.
That's right. He
That's
is
right.
driving this time. He's gonna
Ladies
take
and
us to his
gentlemen,
house.
welcome to Jared's house, where we're going to play a nice little game of Would You Rather?
All right.
So you're walking down the street, and Alex Keaton or Marty
Alex
McFly.
Okay.
Marty McFly pulls up in the
Yeah,
DeLorean.
from Back to the Future. in
So you
case
hop in a
have-
DeLorean, you go
Okay.
back to what I think 1996 to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, where Led Zeppelin is performing. So not only is Led Zeppelin
Okay, wait,
performing,
hold on. So, for those that don't know what we're talking about, because there might be a big handful that maybe don't.
There was a
understand.
movie called Back to the Future.
in which,
oh dear,
yeah.
you're really explaining this?
Well, I'm just saying, there's it's worth it because we just skipped all that and just went to
jumped
the
in.
to time travel.
So-
Anyways, talk about time travel via
A DeLorean.
a DeLorean car.
Dr. Emmett Brown made it out
Yes.
of stuff.
And if you're lost, just play along with us. It's fine. So we're going back to 1996.
Around, I think it was around 96 when Led Zeppelin was in
That is correct. And actually, we told the story about meeting him.
okay.
Yeah.
So you're there, and you are in the back. You're in the backstage, and you're given a choice. You can either be Jimmy Page's tech, or you can be Neil Young's tech. Because if you remember, Neil Young had Old Black, and he performed with Led Zeppelin.
Yes. I don't know if anybody does remember that, but you do, and that's what counts.
That is a very true story. So look it up.
Yes.
Anyhow, you have either 1 week with Old Black, just you and the guitar, or if you're Jimmy Page's tech,
Blackie?
Old Black. Yeah, the 53
Yeah.
gold top that was
Yep.
refinished in black. It's got the
Yep.
62 Firebird pickup.
Yep.
I think just look it up. All the good stuff about
Yeah.
that guitar. Very famous guitar, Neil Young.
Metal pickguard.
But you only have 24 hours with Jimmy Page's number one.
Which does affect the tone.
Okay. So are you going to take the whole week with Blackie? And you can open it and, do whatever you want and check out all the specs, play it, take it to your buddy's house and brag, whatever. Or
It is Old Black.
it's Old Black. Or you're going to go with Jimmy Page's number one. You only get 24 hours with that.
And you got to give it back.
That's right.
That's tricky.
Does it come with any amps or anything?
Just the
Just
guitar.
a guitar.
Just a guitar.
You take it with you.
Okay.
Okay.
That is.
What if we jump back in the DeLorean with the guitar?
Then the DeLorean will just explode because you're not allowed to do that.
It's too much rock and roll, man.
Oh, man.
Okay, we're going to check in with Tony.
Yeah.
Then we're going to ask Jared. Then we're going to ask Blake. And then we're going to ask me.
It's not an easy one. I like
it really isn't.
Well, yeah, it's not. But, and as much as I enjoy James Page's playing, I'm I think I would take Neil Young's guitar because it is just, I mean, that guitar.
He recorded with it.
Well, he recorded
It's an iconic
as did
guitar.
Pagey, but I just think when you look at it, it's the Bigsby, it's the mini humbucker, it's the metal pickguard, it's just probably coated in Neil Young gunk that would just be really cool. And I mean, to me, I always enjoy a somewhat beat up looking guitar, and that guitar looks pretty beat up.
Yeah.
So I think final answer, Neil Young, Old Black.
Nice. I'm gonna go. This is really difficult. I don't think I've made a 100% decision yet.
Do you want us to come back to you?
No, I'm also gonna go with Old Black. It gives me, because you get a week with it. That means you're gonna be in 96 for a week, right? In 1996.
Yeah.
You get a whole week to be in 1996. That's the year I graduated high school.
Ooh, that's nice.
So and the year I went into the military. So I would definitely go with Blackie. Number one, because you get more time with the guitar. Mm-hmm. And number two, of course, I'm a much more bigger Zeppelin fan than I am Neil Young.
But do you have to spend it in Cleveland?
You know what? I would. That's when the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was fairly new. They had just built that brand new facility, and I was there that summer.
Yeah.
With my dad, so that was very special.
Wow.
But yeah, I would.
cool.
But yes, I would definitely go with the week and spend a week with the old Black guitar. Yeah.
All right. Blake, how about yourself?
You know what's so funny is I think I was at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in '98,
Nice.
something like that too, and that was with my dad. That was like one of the coolest nostalgic moments.
How did that?
Janis Joplin's Porsche and all that.
What? Give us. What do you mean you were at it with your dad?
I visited it with my dad.
Okay.
Which was a special, father-son trip.
Yes. So
which
it
is
wasn't
super cool.
the actual induction. You're not a child of some famous people that you have neglected to tell us about.
No, he just went to the museum.
Well, no, I've got that cleared up.
Yes, just like any other.
The Rock Hall, as we like to call it.
Yeah. Well, anyways. Okay.
Yeah, and I would definitely pick Neil Young's just for the sole fact of the Bigsby. That's it. I love Bigsby's. It's on every guitar that I can put one on.
Yeah.
So I just constantly play with the tremolo. So.
Well,
What about you?
I remember watching, and I'd never really seen him in this sort of fashion before, and Neil Young was the acoustic guy to me.
Yeah. Not always.
And then I saw him jump up there with Pearl Jam, keep on rocking in the free world, and I like that smacked me in the forehead to the point where I asked my friend who was a novice metalworker, I'm like, I want a metal pickguard. And I did, and I put it on my Cherry Les Paul, like immediately, because I was like, that was the coolest thing.
It's still cool. I don't care.
It was an amazing moment in rock music history. And seeing him just punish that guitar, just absolutely with like he had a vendetta against that, but which he loves the thing. It was reacting to him, and it was. I don't know that I had seen anybody like really have that connection with the instrument up until that point. I've seen lots of people play it, but that was a whole other level.
I mean, that's you're approaching the realm of Jimi Hendrix with.
It was really
Neil
remarkable,
Young.
and I think if my memory serves me correctly, at one point he broke all the strings on it.
Probably.
I can't remember. I think I saw that happen. That was a long time ago, but I'm definitely going with Blackie because I like the weird stuff too. Like I like when people put their personal, for lack of better terms, mojo into the instrument. Different kinds of knobs and like things that aren't supposed to be there are there.
Exactly.
Nice, another unanimous.
Wow, that's a unanimous one, and
like
that's
it.
over Jimmy Page's guitar.
Yeah. I made it difficult.
You did, but I think style of playing wise, old black suits me better than I would feel too reverent.
It's a Les Paul, Les Paul.
Yeah.
It's all Les. They're all just Les Pauls.
So, anyways, thank you for that, Jared. That was a really good one.
You got it.
And Tony's, we got to thank a couple people, and then we're going to let our friend Blake go for the evening.
Yes, are we going to let him go?
Yes.
Okay.
He's going to leave regardless.
No. We know where he lives.
Yes.
We're driving down in the El Camino tonight.
That's right.
Do it.
Party. You know, Todd, at this point of the show, there's a special group of people that we love to thank.
That's right.
These are our executive producers.
I know.
Now, you might be wondering, Blake's probably wondering, what the hell's an executive producer? Well, let me tell you, executive producers make this podcast possible. They're the sponsors. They're the patrons. Now, how do you become one? You go over to patreon.com/the Guitar Knobs. Check out a couple different levels in which you can participate, become a sponsor, a patron of this very podcast.
That's right.
As an executive producer, well, each level does come with some really nice thank you gifts. But as an executive producer, you get nice gifts, really nice
You
gifts.
get stuff.
But there's one thing more. Todd, what is it?
You get to have your name read on the thing.
Your name read on the thing.
That's what I say.
God, that was one of the best Jared impersonations I've heard you do yet.
Yeah, he did grip the back of my neck, and my mouth did move. It was just his voice.
That's right.
So I'm going to say a very special thanks to these executive producers.
Hang on.
Breath in, breath out. Breath in. Tom Brezen, Darren Gregory, Doug Christ, Ken Sayers, Michael Senchak, Stefan Lamb, Anthony Lathrop, John Anglin, John Estelle, Justin Jones, James White, Matt Hart, Bill Gola Guitars, Richard Kendall, John Jackson, Jason Roush, Gary Cooper, Mark Garten, Elad Mizrahi, Mike D, Trevor Gunberg, Rick Calhoun, Anthony Gemalero, John Halverson, Drew Lopez, Vaderin, not Vanderin pedals, Vaderin pedals, and Moon Guitars. I'm over the moon with Moon Guitars.
Perfect.
It's like our drunk uncle just got the microphone. Go ahead, keep going.
Todd, stop interrupting me. Because we have another special group of executive producers. We call them our grand poobahs.
That's right.
These fine folks wear a special fez upon their head. They really, really make the show possible. So special thanks
Yes.
to these grand poobahs. Jonathan Jaruzik, Corey Nigro, David Kaminga, Science of Sound, Cody Foster, Sean S. Tommy Manasco, Adam Johnson, Steve Keys, Tim Nowak, Tyler Rhines, James Pennington, LSJ Music Company, John Williams, Johnny Morales, Mal Sanders, not Mel, Mel's his brother, Bob Crouch, Sam Jett, Michio Murakishi, Martin Cliff, Hex Metals, we spoke of earlier, Michael Van Zant, Brian Robinson, John Daly, Ricardo Igareda, and Brandon Wound Pickups.
That's right.
Yeah, all right.
That's
Thank you
right.
so much, one and all, for helping us out. It truly makes this machine work, and we could not be more grateful to you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And these are also the people that are hugely active in supporting all of the smaller builders out there.
Yep.
So it isn't just our show. They're out there and they're doing it. So thank you
Thanks.
so much. Blake, tell us where people can connect with you and buy these amazing pedals that you're making.
Yeah, Kaisertronics.com, or you can find me on Instagram at Kaisertronics.
Excellent. Tony.
Yes. Why don't you go over to pickguardian.com and check out some of the special tone-enhancing plastics that I offer. It would complete with shielding for
Yes.
extra capacitance. No, just go check out some of the things that I do. You can buy some stuff online, but, as I always say, I generally do mostly custom work. So shoot me an email. Let me know what you want to do, what you're trying to do. I might even have some tips for you because I've done this stuff before for a long time.
Yep.
So shoot me an email. Links on the site.
Right on.
Do it.
Jared.
I work for Gibson, so buy Gibsons. If you want to get a hold of me, though, reach me through the Guitar Knob stuff.
Yes, and at the beginning of the year, you will have your new Instagram up and running.
That's what Todd says.
That's what I say. Because I'm fielding messages now.
I probably will.
All right. You can reach me. You can send me an email, Todd@theguitarknobs.com. Share your thoughts, your feelings, your hopes, your dreams, whatever. You can also DM me on Instagram @GuitarKnobs. We'd love to hear from you. Give us your would you rathers. We know you got them. We know you're thinking about them.
Yep.
Send them our way.
How about the four on the floors, too?
Sure, you can do those too. We need to say a colossal thank you to Blake.
Thanks, Blake.
From Kaisertronics for joining us on the show and sending out these beautiful pedals for us to play. So, Blake, thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it.
You bet.
All right, man. Keep making the good stuff.
Indeed.
I will try.
Everybody have a fantastic Guitar Week and subscribe!
Oh, yeah.
So, it's just me now. Oh, you're back?
Hello.
Hello.
All right.
Hello is there.
That's your chance.
Hello.
I should say my name.
You should.
Yeah, I hear the
Hey.
clickety clacks.
Too late.
I didn't see it.
Too late. Cat's out of the bag. Bring this down just a touch. A touch too much. Ring-a-ding-ding, baby.
I need to come out this way so I can slouch.
No slouching.
Don't slouch.
I want to slouch.
No slouching.
Little hot.
Too hot to handle.
Coming
and
in
too
hot.
cold to hold.
Check 1, 2.
And if you have to use a restroom break, let us know. It's not
Or if you
live.
need help finding the microphone like Jared.
Right.
See, I know stuff.
Yeah.
I know stuff.
Jared.
Snoring.
Yeah, why?
Boring.
All right.
Wow.
Well, your turn's coming up, so we'll get ready, Tony. Yeah.
My mom used to say I have a great face for radio.
Yes, I agree with that.
Now let's just do it now. Just do it over.
Okay, starting
right.
over.
Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/theguitarknobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.